It's 1992.
178 world leaders gathered in Rio
They're
today.
calling it the summit that will save the planet.
For 20 years, we have followed the lives of 11 children, born in 10 countries across the world, all born at the time of the Rio Earth Summit. The first time world leaders had got together to promise future generations a better world.
If a man cheats the earth will cheat man.
We wanted to know if the promises of the Earth Summit would be fulfilled in their lives.
I am fighting for my future.
The promise of a cleaner, healthier, better educated and less dangerous world.
I am here to speak for all generations to come.
These are the babies, then kids, then teenagers, and now young adults we've been following. It's a unique adventure, spanning our fast-changing world over 20 years through the lives of our children and their families in far corners of the Earth. Now, in 2012, there's a new Earth Summit in Rio, and we've returned to each child to discover what lessons their lives have to offer. In this episode, we travel to Tamil Nadu in India, where Panjy was born in a society where children go to work. To the Arctic north of Norway, where Amelia was born to a fishing family. And to South Africa, where, because of the unique circumstances, we follow two babies, Justin and Vuzumsi.
Not everyone agrees that cultural boycott should hold villages emptied at the center of allegation.
Only a few get rich, but everyone lives on hope.
Sounds economic reform.
Youth and inexperience are no match for maturity and determination.
This is Vuzumsi. He and his mum, Mavis, live in a small house in a black township called Thornhill, one of the places blacks were moved to during South Africa's period of racial discrimination, known as apartheid. Vuzumsi's dad has just died of pneumonia. Mavis scrapes a living as a cleaner and on money sent by her sister working in Pretoria. So far as she's concerned, there's a simple solution to her problem.
It's money. With money, you can do anything.
Half an hour's drive away, there's another world. A fertile lowland dotted with white-owned farms. This is the world Justin was born into. This is a time of upheaval in South Africa's Eastern Cape. Apartheid has only just ended, and white farmers, viewed as settlers by radical black movements, are being attacked. Justin's dad takes no chances.
This is the main bedroom where Manda and I sleep. She sleeps there and I sleep here. It's got a grenade screen on it. She's got a revolver. There's a radio to call the police in case of trouble. Under my mattress, I've got my 9mm. You see, there it is. And under my bed, I've got my shotgun. All easily accessible.
A world away from Vuzumsi and Justin, baby Panjy was also born in 1992 in the village of Manijpuram in Tamil Nadu in southern India. Panjy is the youngest of 5 children. Her 10-year-old sister already works in nearby firework factories to help feed the family. A fate Panjy's mother hopes she'll avoid.
Only as a last resort, this girl will go to the factory. If we can manage, I'll send her to school. My son and daughter both went to school, but we had to take her out when times got hard.
Panjy's village is close to the heart of India's fireworks and matchmaking industry. Here, children are used because they are cheap and have quick hands. Working 10-hour shifts, each child turns out 1/3 of a million matchboxes in a single year.
I want to avoid sending her to the factory. But we're poor people, so everyone has to help out.
Panjy's dad, Kalimutli, also makes fireworks. Mixing chemicals has corroded his skin and lungs, and he's in hospital. The family struggle to pay his medical bills, $10, cash that Panjy's family can barely afford.
My son's illness has made life hard for the family. So his mother and I must work in the fields to support them. I'm 65 and I'd hoped he would be the one helping us. But his wife and children need all the help we can give them.
India provides free education for all children to the age of 16. But when it comes down to it, putting food on the table comes first. Will Panjy be allowed to stay the course at school and avoid the factory? The Lofoten Islands in the Arctic north of Norway. The region depends almost entirely on fishing. This is where Amelia was also born in 1992.
And it's a really nice place to live, and it's a nice place to raise kids.
Fish catches are falling as foreign fleets move into Norwegian fishing grounds. Baby Amelia's parents worry they may lose their living.
Norwegian fishermen have suffered many years to save and build up the resources of cod. When we are coming open the Barents Sea for European trawlers, they come up and take all the cod.
I hope that my children and my grandchildren will be able to harvest from the sea just like my ancestors did. Because if we can't harvest from the sea, we can't live here. Then we have to move out of this country.
Amelia's family have lived on these islands for hundreds of years. The next 20 could be critical. Will Amelia carry on the family traditions? Or are remote communities under threat even in the rich West? It's now 1995, and we're back in Tamil Nadu, where Panjy's 3. Her father has just passed away.
After a month in hospital, they told us to get private medical help. We couldn't pay, so we brought him home. He died soon after.
As if things weren't hard enough, her grandfather has stopped work.
I can't help the family any longer. My body's too old and weak.
If Panjy's really going to avoid life in the firework factory, she now has only her mum to help. Also in 1995, in South Africa, we found Justin and his family on their holidays.
The thing I do like about him, he's so cute, and sometimes he's not naughty.
True or false, Justin?
False.
It's now 4 years since apartheid and minority white rule came to an end. What changed for Justin's family?
People's attitudes towards each other. People want to get together and make country work. And
and the political situation worked instead of like being antagonistic towards each other and saying the other one's the big bad daddy, you know.
Yeah.
Now they're working together to try and make a better place. I think that's basically what it is.
Prince Charles' marriage was ended unceremoniously. Miseries over divorce have led to...
Bill Clinton has won the last American election of the 20th century.
A year later in India, Panjy, now 4, just can't wait to go to school.
Manjal, manjal, kal, vattam, vattam, panam, palam, pandam, pandam, kanna, kanna, panam ta, palam ta, panam, palam, pandam, pandam.
My name is Vuzumsi, and I'm 4.
In South Africa in 1996, progress has come to Thornhill Township in the form of electricity.
Come to Beth, where you can scratch and win.
Television comes as a reminder to children like Vuzumsi of a world of plenty still beyond their reach. Justin and his brother and sister already take electricity for granted. "1997 in Norway has brought difficult times for baby Amelia's family. There are fears of an imminent collapse of cod stocks, so fishing is restricted. Amelia's dad, Oddmund, who's a fisherman, is forced to stay at home. But for Amelia, this is a bonus.
I got to spend up to 7 months a year at home. And so I was a housewife, carpenter and a cook.
Mr. Milosevic,
the holiday island of Bali.
Just a procession of people covered in blood.
This is the biggest currency swap in history. It's the euro for good.
There are known knowns.
When you're eating pretzels, chew before you swallow.
It's now 10 years since we began our adventure, filming the lives of young people born across the world. In South Africa, Vuzumsi has a new brother called Spamandla. His mother, Mavis, remarried, but it didn't last.
He's a fine child. Since he was born, he's never given me any trouble.
My brother, I like him. And he likes me.
Vuzumsi is happy with his new brother. But just outside the door in the township, life is precarious. In the new South Africa, a dozen years after apartheid, over 40 people a day are being murdered, mostly in places like this.
The people are all right till payday, then all hell breaks loose.
So what happens?
They often get drunk and have their wage packets stolen.
You must keep dogs in the house and outside, so they can bark so you know someone's outside. Some of the poor people steal because they're very hungry. So if there was everybody in the world had money and lots of money, then I don't think they would steal.
How would you improve things here?
I would stop grown-ups from raping children.
Vuzumsi's life has been hit by the AIDS epidemic. His auntie, who'd been sending money from Pretoria, has just died from the disease. The most devastating effect of the HIV/AIDS epidemic has been in Africa. In South Africa alone, 1 in 9 people is HIV positive.
There's the wheelbarrow. Come on now, get down to the pile of sand. Get a move on now.
AIDS is just one reason why, in 2002, 10 years after the Rio Earth Summit, Africa, in real terms, is a poorer place. Vuzumsi and his classmates do their best to help build their future. The girls' choir sings on as the boys form up in teams to repair their school. Close by, Justin's community is facing its own challenges. When we started filming in 1992, only white children attended Justin's school. No black faces were ever to be seen in the records of those who passed through its ranks. But not anymore.
I've quite a lot of friends. My best friend is Saki Siswe.
When Justin was born, a scene such as this would have been impossible.
Now, a friend doesn't have to be the proper color for you. It can be any, as long as he's a true friend. They'll always help you, play with you. Yeah, doesn't matter what color it is for me.
The winners and losers that I'm going to speak about are the winners and losers in life. Not on the sports field, not in the classroom, losers in life. Let's have a look at the word loser. L-O-S-E-R.
Half an hour away, Vuzumsi and his friends still lack the facilities Justin and his classmates enjoy. The bulk of the country's education system marked by inequalities inherited from the past.
What is a spider? A spider is an insect. What is a spider?
A spider is an insect.
Yes, a spider is an insect. The other noun that we learned about Justin.
A pronoun.
Well done. Give me an example of a pronoun, Daryl. Lots of little words.
Vuzumsi and Justin are still growing up in a South Africa marked by separate development.
Back, my boykie. That's it.
Only now, the division's not race, but wealth.
1, 2, 3. Happy! Happy!
2 young lives, same country, worlds apart.
Look at me, and say money. Money. Yes, look at me and say yes.
In India, Panjy is also 10. And she's loving school. Like other kids in India, Panjy's theoretically guaranteed free schooling till 16. But her family is poor. And girls are more likely to be pulled out of school to help out at home.
Is school important?
Yes.
Why?
I want to study to become a doctor and treat people free of charge.
Panjarvana wants to stay at school. That's going to make things difficult for us. So I wanted to leave.
Panjy's best friend and cousin, Muru, has already been taken out of school. She spends her days coating firework fuses by hand, dipping her fingers in a copper sulfate solution.
Do you go to school?
No.
Why not?
My mother stopped me.
Why did she do that?
so I could do fuse work.
How many hours work do you do?
3 sessions, 12 hours a day.
How much do you earn for a day's work?
30 rupees.
30 rupees for the whole day?
Yes.
Children who escape Muru's fate are indeed fortunate, but it's a fate that now threatens Panjy. Her oldest brother suffered chemical poisoning. He now stays at home. Her second brother's already left school to make fireworks. Panjy's mother works in the same factory her husband was poisoned in. Her older sister was married at 15 and she only left the factory to have her first child, and now her husband too is a fireworks maker. Between them, they earn the equivalent of $5 a day. Panjy's family are a model family of the world's poor in the 21st century. It's now illegal for children to work in factories, although many still do. The clusters of buildings are meant to limit explosions to those inside. Most child workers roll firework fuses at home. Panjy also helps out with this during her evenings. Her grandfather, who'd helped the family by working in the fields, has now lost the use of his legs. She visits his bedside every day.
I want to study hard and become a doctor.
If I had had an education, it might have been different for me. But if you study hard, then with God's help, you can become a doctor.
Today is the start of Pungal, the annual rice harvest festival. The celebrations begin by honoring the gods. At Panjy's village, the preparations have been going on for weeks. Everybody lends a hand, but Panjy is spending the time reading up for school. School life for her cousin and best friend Muru has already come to an end. For how long will Panjy be allowed to stay on at school?
The Syrian rebel had a handgun. His enemies had a T-72 tank.
Pretty formidable fight. About one third of the ship.
The Greeks have been letting people know what they think of austerity measures.
There are a lot of issues here in the sort of society.
So in love.
20 years on from the Rio Earth Summit, we've returned to Norway to find Amelia, who we last left dancing with her dad. He'd stopped working because fish stocks were low. Amelia is now an independent-minded 19-year-old. She still lives in remote Henningsvær in the Arctic Circle, where she works in a restaurant.
I've been working since I was 13 years old. I wash dishes.
Then they found out I was good at front of house, so I became a waitress.
When we first filmed here in 1992, Amelia's family worried about the state of the fisheries. Now, after years of quotas restricting catches, cod numbers have risen dramatically. Some put it down to global warming, but Amelia's dad, Odmund, who's fished these waters since his youth, thinks he knows why.
I think we have saved this fish, not just the cod, but the capelin and the herring, so the cod have food. The government quotas was necessary. They did their job. It was hard for the fishermen, but they survived.
4 years ago, it started with 3 small boats. And I said, okay, it's a start. Next year there was 10 boats. This year it's about 40 to 50 boats. And it's loaded with fish.
They haven't seen so much fish for 50 years, I think.
Amelia is like countless other young people in rural areas across the world. She wants to live in a city. Over half the world is now living in cities, and Amelia wants in.
This is not a place for young people. Most of my friends have moved away. The only thing on my mind is getting out of here. I'm so tired of being here. All the people hanging fish on the drying racks. It stinks. I enjoyed waitressing, so I want to go to catering school. But not here. I want to move to the city of Trondheim.
My hope for her is that she goes out in the world, not stay here in Henningsvær. I say to her, find out what you want to do.
I hope she got a good life, and she's gonna do what she wants to do. It's up to her to find out this.
We've just returned to Tamil Nadu in India. Panjy is now 19, a fully grown woman. What became of the girl who wanted to be a doctor and treat people for free?
I was taken out of school because my family are poor. I really wanted to stay on.
Last year, Panjy was married to a complete stranger, a fireworks maker from a neighboring village.
I met him for the first time on the day before our wedding. Next time I saw him, we became husband and wife.
How can arranged marriage give you eternal love?
Your parents choose the right groom for you. Love before marriage is not good. Love after marriage is true love.
What is love?
Love means looking for a bride.
What else?
Love means giving flowers to the girl.
Love means always thinking about each other. Preferring to eat the foods that your loved one likes instead of your own. That is love. They fixed a date for our wedding. On our wedding day, all my relatives came to wish us a long life.
In these parts, getting married means borrowing money. Panjy's family is already heavily in debt.
My family had to give marriage gifts like a watch, gold, and cash to my husband.
Panjy's mother, Lakshmi, is shouldering the debts for this and her other children's weddings.
The wedding bills are over 200,000 rupees.
How much interest do you have to pay?
The rate of interest is 60%. Each month I pay 100 rupees interest for every 2,000.
I feel very bad. It's very hard paying off the debt.
After my death, my children will have to pay. Debt is never ending.
Every so often, Panjy and Marimuthu ride on his motorbike to their favorite temple for a special reason.
We've been trying to get pregnant, but we haven't been able to conceive. What did you pray for?
A son.
Panjy, tell me about family planning.
It means having no more than 2 babies. You can take a pill to abort a 3rd pregnancy. So you can look after your 2 children and give them an education.
Are men and women equal in India?
Here in India, no one thinks men and women are equal. If a woman was to claim she was equal to a man, people would look badly upon her. That's why I say they are not equal.
But we have female gods in India, so why this inequality?
They are respected in public places like temples. In those places, they are very well respected. But in other places like bus stands, the women get molested. That's why I say in India, they are not equal.
Each morning, Panjy boards a truck that takes her and other women from the village to the firework factory.
Most of these women are related to me. There's always laughter on the truck. And if there's ever any sadness at home, we share it with each other. They know everything about my life. And I know everything about theirs. Together we work out an answer to our problems. Then at the factory we don't feel the burden.
Like Panjy, many of these women were made to leave school at an early age.
I often think about having had to leave school. But concentrating on my work helps me to forget about it. My husband is not very smart. He doesn't even know how to manage a family. So I will take responsibility for managing our family.
With the money she earns, Panjy plans to pay off her family debt and save money for the future.
When I left my name behind in Queenstown, I left like all the insecurities I had, all the things I wasn't confident about in myself behind in Queenstown. with the name. So I attached the name with all of my insecurities. So when I came to Cape Town, I took my nickname that my friend gave me, which is Chase, and then I said, this is the person who I am and who I want to become.
In South Africa, Justin, now also 19, lives in Cape Town, where he's at university.
I just feel like I don't have any baggage or I didn't want to be the person I was at school. I wanted to be better than that person. I wanted to be more confident than that person. So when I came to Cape Town, I didn't become a new person. I just became a more confident version of myself, if you could say it that way.
I feel like I have found myself. I'm still learning and growing, but for the most part, I know who I am, and I know where I want to be, and I know what I need to do to develop, to grow. I'm an ambitious young adult. Point.
Justin is reading a combined media and performing arts degree.
It's my first song I've written, and I was thinking I want to maybe do the journey of life, the pains and the struggles that not only things that I've had to endure, so it's about the journey of life. Does that sound nice?
Yeah, it sounds really nice.
Okay.
It sounds like daily.
And when you look up and the pain... Everyone needs hope. Because without hope, the dream of something better, there's not really a point of living. That's what I believe. So that's what the song is about, I guess.
So remember the boss?
Justin's course involves making costumes and creating prosthetic makeup.
The back of my shirt, can you see this bit? Yeah. This is also a mask.
I do enjoy working with my hands. It's very hands-on. I have to cut out patterns, I have to sketch patterns, I have to make design, create an outfit from start to finish. I'm going to take a picture of a prostitute because prostitutes are in essence like mermaids.
Because they
try and make themselves beautiful and seduce the men to pay for them to have sex.
His class's current project, to create a portrait of a serial killer.
Tonight I'm doing a photo shoot with one of my victims, and we're doing prosthetic work so it looks like she's burnt, because that is what my serial killer does to his victims. He'll burn them and take a picture. I enjoy the feeling I get when I've done something well. He believes that is their final photo shoot.
Yo, that's flippin' cool.
I crave to be successful. So I will go out there and I will ensure that I make a success of myself.
We're heading back to Thornhill to find Vuzumsi. We've heard bad news. Mavis had left home to try to find work in another town, leaving Vuzumsi and his younger brother alone. While she was away, she received a call to say Vuzumsi had been stabbed.
This guy called out to a girl who ignored him. When Vuzumsi laughed, he ran after him and stabbed him. He was annoyed at being laughed at, and he was drunk. This guy chased Vuzumsi and stabbed him. They took him to court, but they let him off. They freed him and said the case was over.
I blame myself to leave my son alone.
Cookie! Yintoni wathula kaloku ngoku. Mntana philo. Kutheni ungayanga eklinikhi? Uma umuntu ongayaphi treatment. Hayi bekuthiwa wonke noba uyaya
Vuzumsi's killer was part of this community and had lived nearby. According to Mavis, he still gets drunk and violent.
That boy will kill my son. Stay here. Go kill Vuzumsi.
The boy who killed Vuzumsi?
Yeah, he's still.
He lives where? Here?
Yeah. Go this house.
After killing Vuzumsi, the man moved from here to the nearest town.
What's this?
Vuzumsi. This is mine. Ingoba kaprikati Vuzumsi.
This was Vuzumsi's high school. His younger brother, Spamandla, is now a student here. Vuzumsi had told us he wanted to be a doctor and treat HIV, the disease that had taken the lives of 2 of his family.
He's a good boy. Spamandla does his own laundry and irons it himself. There's nothing he can't do. He looks like Vuzumsi. But Vuzumsi was too lazy to do his own laundry.
I want to do medicine after I graduate. Because my brother died with the same ambition. I also want to find a cure for HIV/AIDS.
3 years on, Mavis is ready to face Vuzumsi's killer. She wants closure on her son's death. She's going to meet him.
Hello,
Hello, Tembikosi. Where are you?
Okay.
Come here, I want to speak to you. Come, I'm waiting for you at Erarins.
Okay.
Sir, I don't know, just because things happen, just because I will just say, no, auntie, you must just take this.
You must just take this as something in the hands of God.
Just because
I don't even know myself.
But
I'm grateful and happy with Mavis for forgiving me.
She gave me, just
because she knows what happened that night.
Things happen to that Tony.
I forgive him because he asked for me forgiveness.
Do you still drink?
No, sir.
You're lying. You were drinking all weekend. And you were drinking just now. You must tell the truth.
Okay, I drink, but not heavily.
I told people that I forgave you because you did apologize and had no memory of what happened. Thank you. We all wanted closure on Vuzumsi's story. The person who killed Vuzumsi has now spoken, and his side of the story has been heard.
Thank you very much for everything you've done for me. Anytime you need me, you have my contact numbers.
Yes, I have your numbers.
Okay, bye-bye.
Just 3 of the 11 lives we set off to follow across the world from birth. It's been an epic endeavor. When we started, we had no idea how events would unfold, some looking very much up, and others marred by tragedy. In our next episode, we travel to northern Kenya, where for 20 years we follow Edo, whose nomadic way of life is under threat. To northern California, Stephanie Standley, born into a world where business clashed with concern for the environment. And to southern China, where a modern industrial revolution has transformed the life of baby KK.